My heritage consists of a mother who, after my first piano recital, when I asked her how I did, she told me I sucked. It's real. My heritage consists of a grandmother who, at 5:30 in the morning when I woke up, took the time to show me how to cook eggs, even though she had to be at work at 6 and woke up at 4 o'clock herself. I come from giants. I come from mountains of men who always told me that right is right, even if no one does it, and wrong is wrong, even if everybody is doing it. I come from a father who introduced me to my heavenly Father, but more importantly, he taught me that a father is not determined by a paternity test, but by a desire to see me go further than he did. I come from strength. I come from courage. I come from dedication. I come from wisdom. I come from truth. I come from facts. I come from real. I've dealt with hate. I've dealt with fear. I've gone through doubt. I've fought through weakness. And what I've learned, and what my heritage has taught me, is to always be real. I come from a heritage that taught me that the truth is black and white. There is no gray. Either it is or it ain't. There is no ambiguity when it comes to that subject. My heritage taught me that no matter how many times I lie, or how convincing I am when I lie, it's still a lie, it has no weight, and therefore it's worthless. My heritage taught me that the problem isn't that I set the bar too high that I miss, but that the standards have fallen so low and I hit it every time. Something to worry about. More importantly, my heritage taught me that excuses don't excuse, that justifications do not justify, and that in all things I have to stand on my own 2 feet and let my actions stand for themselves. I've learned respect. I've learned responsibility. I've learned trust. I've learned accountability. I've learned obedience. I've learned discipline. I've learned real. And because of that, I don't sugarcoat. I don't backpedal. I don't soften the blow. I don't retract statements. I give it like it is. I tell it to you straight. I keep it 100. In other words, I keep it real.
All right, so it's sort of strange that I turned out to be a music teacher. Music was never very important to my parents, and there wasn't a whole lot of music around my house. There was no singing around the house or talking about favorite songs or artists. Music class was sadly missing from my education, but somehow here I am, a father, a teacher, spreading the gospel about music to young people every day. Somehow, music found its way into my life, where it decided to take up residency for good. The earliest memories I have of being moved by music come from the Sunday masses my family attended every week when I was a boy. I remember looking forward to seeing the names of the hymns we would be singing every Sunday, scrambling through the hymnal to find the pages so I could read the words and wonder at the shape of the melody and the strange symbols on the page that somehow meant music. These are my first memories of singing. I loved the feeling of singing in unison with hundreds of other voices, even before I knew what harmony meant. Sometimes I would sense the odd harmony sung by the inspired churchgoer. Sometimes I'd try my own hand at harmonizing with the choir, trying to add my own textures to the mix. Those, I think, were the most perfect experiences I ever had with music. At home, the only time I ever heard singing was when my grandmother, my dad's mom, would visit. Every time she saw me, she sang me this song, "Charlie, My Boy," that seemed to come from a distant time, her time, and when she sang it, I could catch a glimpse of her as a little girl, fawning over some Valentine's Day crush. I can still hear her wavery voice and feel the awkward shiver it gave me. I wasn't used to having people sing to me because they loved me. Her son, my dad, never sang. Not at home anyway. He joined the church choir at some point, but he always joked that his choir mates called him the distortion. Still, there were all these little clues around the house that somehow, at some point, music mattered to him. There were the broken guitars that my brother and I one day found hiding in the back of his closet, next to the trumpet that no one ever took out of its case. The parlor organ that we always had in our house because Dad claimed his mother played the organ, a claim that was never developed or proven. And then Patsy Cline. My dad only kept one cassette in the stereo of his Chevette. Crazy was the lonesome crooner that made Patsy Cline a superstar shortly before her untimely death. It's the only song he ever played, but he never sang along, so neither did I. My mom had a stack of records, though. I think they must have been from her college days. The only time she brought out her record player was the holidays. When we were little, we would spin this Chipmunks record over and over again and imitate the goofy voices of the characters. But my personal favorite was Elvis's Christmas album. And his ridiculous blues rocker, Blue Christmas. There was something about the mixture of the seriousness of his words, but the silliness of his voice that was completely captivating for me. Elvis has been one of my favorites ever since. My family didn't go to concerts, though. My parents were not very interested in culture or art. Church was about all we did. It wasn't until I was in middle school that I got to go see a concert. My sister, 5 years older than me, brought me along with her to Detroit to see Vince Gill and Bobby Brown on the New Edition reunion tour. This was the same sister who was the first person to take me to a hair salon, a proper hair salon, for a proper haircut. She never stopped making fun of me, though, for telling the stylist that I wanted to look just like Simon Le Bon, the lead singer of Duran Duran, whose highlighted and feathered coif I wanted because I'd seen him on MTV. Before my first concert, I slaved over my outfit, finally settling on a clean white turtleneck sweater underneath a navy cardigan. I remember trying mousse in my hair for the first time that night, and I used so much that my hair felt like a crisp waffle. But I thought it looked pretty cool. Our seats for the concert were terrible. What they call the nosebleed section because they're so far from the stage. The sound was so loud that I couldn't understand anything they said, and my ears rang for days. By the end of the night, my hair hurt from the crispy mousse. And I never became much of a fan of 90s R&B music. And you can move. It's cool.
Yeah, you can totally move. So, on a Saturday, it's okay. On a Saturday, when I was in 4th grade, my grandmother, who wasn't really my grandmother, she was a neighbor that I kind of adopted as my grandmother, would let us watch the Lawrence Welk Show late at night. Now, I know you guys are too young to remember the Lawrence Welk Show because technically I'm supposed to be too young to remember the Lawrence Welk Show, but it was this amazing variety show with all different kinds of music. And I found myself really drawn to it because of how perfect everything was. And at that point in my life, I wanted to be perfect. So what most people didn't know about me is that I was adopted when I was in 5th grade by a Portuguese family. That's why my last name is Medeiros, or Medeiros. And typically, most people thought, oh, you're supposed to like hip hop, you're supposed to like rap. But along with the Lawrence Welk Show, which did a lot of folk music and beautiful ballads, on any given Saturday, you could see my mom cleaning the house, listening to Ella Fitzgerald or Billie Holiday. And on any given Sunday, my dad was out back working on his truck, listening to everything from Andrea Bocelli, which is opera, or Snoop Dogg. Right? So what music am I supposed to like? And what music is supposed to define me? I found my own version. While I was in school, I found that music saved my life. I did not like being at home. I did not like what was going on in my neighborhood. And so I joined the band and choir and orchestra and learned how to be a student conductor and anything that I could get my fingers on that would let me stay after school to not be at home. What I didn't know is that music became my language more so than English. And so I found a new version of myself through that. That became my heritage or who I was. I found I could feel my sadness through listening to music. I found I could express my anger through listening to music. And I became a musician. I went to college for music because it felt safer. I eventually started teaching music to other people because I wanted them to feel what I felt in my life, because that was the deepest root of myself, more so than anything else. And so when I was prepping my story, I not only wanted you guys to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, but I wanted you to feel the same way that I feel when I speak in my language of music. In this music, you can hear hip-hop, you can hear electronic music, right? I'm an engineer, I like playing with sound. It's actually in Portuguese, which is basically how I grew up and where I came from, even though technically I'm Nigerian American. So this music represents who I am, and I'm madly in love with telling you my story because it, along with the music, represents Loretta. And that's it.
My family is Choctaw Indian. We're also from Nolens, so we are Creoles. Music in my house was like speaking. It happened all the time. I come from a family of writers. We write all the time. And as Mr. said, we're not allowed to, let's use the word, keep things in books, because when the book is gone, the knowledge is gone. But no one can ever take the brain away, so it stays in the head. And one of our traditions, shall I say, that's very strong in my heritage is that we celebrate life. We celebrate those that are around us all the time. We watch them, we nurture them. We watch them so closely that it's almost as if we become a part of them. And we learn their stories. And their stories become our stories, which becomes everyone's stories when we sing it. So I'm going to call on one of my ancestors to help me give one of the songs to you. And this ancestor is going to be very strange for you because although he's young, he's old. Mister, can you help me? And although I'm older than Mister, I'm younger than Mister. So, Judge, I think that you should set me free. And I'll tell you why. Each night aside, it's 10 o'clock in the evening and I've got to go to work. Try to make a living for my children, I can't stay home. Don't have a father, I'm so provider, I leave my kids alone. You look at me, criticize, shake your head inside. Judging me and you don't realize I'm trying. Each night I leave inside I'm dying. It's all about surviving. See, Judge, I'm not denying. I get a call on my job. DC affairs is coming after me. My daughter took a fall. My neighbor thought it best she make the call. They take my kids from me, then they arrest me. I try to explain, but they say it's law. And don't you think it's ironic that I tried to save them from the world and then lost them after all? You look at me, criticize, shake your head aside. Judging me and you don't realize I'm trying. Each night I leave inside I'm dying. Judge, I think that you should set me free.
Your Honor, my client is being charged because the money you think she makes begging, you think it goes into a needle, you think it goes into a bottle, you think it goes into a blunt. Objection, Your Honor, to the double standard of the law. See, when a rich person urinates publicly, he just had a little too much to drink. When she does it, she's intoxicated. When she begs, you call it panhandling against the law. When the Salvation Army does it, it's for a good cause. See, I call objection to that. Because you all think that she can't get a job because you think she's lazy. See, on a job application, the first thing after name, it says home address. You all work from 9 to 5. She works from can to can. You all work to pay your bills. She works to get bills to pay. Objection, Your Honor, to the fact that you all think she likes standing underneath the L train begging in the middle of the pouring rain. Thinking that she would rather choose this over a mansion in the hills. You think she'd rather sleep on a park bench. Objection, Your Honor, to the fact that you all think that you, a jury of her peers who have climate-controlled homes and heated cars that drive to AC offices, can even understand her plight. See, the defense, we refuse to rest. My client can never rest. She's too busy trying to feed her kids.
Judge, I think that you should set me free. Judge, I think that you should set me free. Judge, I think that you should set me free.